All right, welcome back everybody to Comp 3350, to our actual class time. Today we are going to be preparing our non-technical planning artifacts. So to give you some, information about the readings for this week, we're not going to be doing that today, so if you're feverishly trying to read it in class today, you can stop, it's okay. We will be looking at other kinds of planning artifacts in class on Thursday. So that's when I want you to be able to have finished reading the release planning stuff. Today we're focusing on non-technical planning artifacts. So vision, epics or features, and user stories. So just a quick reintroduction to this idea of planning artifacts. Our approach to Agile in this course is that and kind of in general, is that we want to have just enough planning to get started. There's this misconception that Agile means no planning at all. You may see this if you go out into industry and you go to a place that isn't already doing some kind of an Agile process or Agile methodology. They may have this perception that Agile means no planning at all. Agile really means just enough planning to get started right now on something. The three types of non-technical planning artifacts that we're going to be looking at in this course are the initial vision for the software, a set of features or epics that describe what's necessary to accomplish the vision that we're trying to put together, and then a set of user stories that are required to accomplish that epic or feature. The highest level document, the highest level non-technical planning artifact here is the vision statement. And the vision statement is something that describes the purpose of the project. So really, really importantly, we're not at all describing how we are going to implement this thing. We're not describing what technologies we're going to use to implement this thing. We're not even really describing necessarily what kinds of devices or physical devices. We're not talking about web apps versus Android apps versus iOS apps. We're not talking about how we're going to accomplish this thing. We're just talking about what this thing is going to do. Vision statements generally start with a single sentence that summarizes really broadly what the purpose of the project is. After that one single sentence, there's going to be a series of paragraphs up to about 3 pages, but you want to be brief with what you're describing here. You want to be really brief with what you're describing. And what the entire vision document should explain to the reader is, what's this project going to accomplish by the time it's finished? Who is this valuable to? So getting a sense of who your users are going to be, who's actually going to use this product at the end when it's finished, and why they would want to use it. Sometimes this is because it's good on its own, and sometimes this is relative to other things that exist already. So if you're making an app or a product that does something really similar to an existing product, part of your why is this valuable might be because it's faster than this other thing, or it's going to be more streamlined or something to justify why you're doing this. And then finally, what are the success criteria? So measurable and objective success criteria. When this project is finished, or as you're going through this project, how do you and your user or client decide that, yes, we have met the goals that we set out in this vision? I want to be able to take a measurement. It's faster to do this thing for most people. I want to be able to take a measurement like, there are more people using my product than other products. I'm making a certain amount of money. A measurable criteria that we can use to decide success. This is a document that is for a general audience. So we are all CS people and engineering people in here. The purpose of this document is for a general audience. So think about your parents, think about your siblings, think about your aunts and uncles. This is a document that's written by our customer. So our dev team is probably not going to be deeply involved in writing this document. We're not necessarily going to be deeply involved in writing it because we're usually not the ones that want the thing that we're building. It's our clients that want the thing that we're building. Because this is written by a general audience and because this is written by our customers or users, there are no technical details in this document. There's none at all. So again, we're not talking about what this app is going to be built on. We're not talking about frameworks or technology. We're just talking about what the goal is for this product that we're trying to build. I would like to really quickly kind of step through my own vision statement. So that single sentence at the beginning to describe a project, to give you a sense of what you should be doing to write your own vision statements about your project. The vision statement that I'm going to write is for a product that I am going to give a name to. So that's my first task. I'm giving a name to the product that I'm building. The product that I'm going to build is called Notflix. It's importantly different from the other thing that we're thinking about right now. This is my product name. This is what I want to build when I'm done. The thing that I'm going to give to my client is going to be called Notflix. That's going to be one thing that you are going to have to do as a team, is decide what your product name is going to be. There are no rules here. I mean, please don't be offensive when you come up with names for your product, but there are no rules whatsoever. I'm not going to give you any more guidance than to tell you, please come up with a name for the product that you are going to be building. The vision statement that I'm going to put together looks a lot like the user story structure. As a X, I want to be able to do this thing because of some reason why I want to do it. It's going to look a lot like that, but it's going to be at a significantly higher level than what we're thinking about with user stories. This is going to describe the entire product. So here is my vision statement for Notflix. Notflix is a product. So I'm not using technical details. It's just a product. This is the thing that I'm building that allows regular people This is the who. It's very broad. It's super broad. I'm not picking on any one particular kind of person, but I am kind of classifying them. These are people that don't have technical details. Notflix is a product that allows regular people to watch entertaining shows on demand. So it's not cable. It's different from cable TV. I can pick which show I want to watch. What I want to accomplish, what my regular people want to accomplish, is watch entertaining shows. I want to be able to do it whenever I want, wherever I want, from anywhere. This is the opening sentence to my vision document, to my entire vision document. Let me quickly annotate this so that we can, when I put this up, you can remember what all this stuff says. Product name. Who it's for, and what it does. I'm going to leave this up here for just a second, 10 seconds. Actually, what I'm going to do is this. Just put it beside my window here. Here is your task. I want you to make a vision statement for your product. That is your goal right now, is to make a vision statement for your product. I gave you all giant Post-it notes. These are stickies. They stick to walls. I would like you all to stand up and stick them to the walls, please. I would like you to work together to decide what your product name is and write your vision statement. I'm going to put 10 minutes on. Please stop, please stop, please stop, please stop. I'm going to come around and visit you as you're doing this and give you some guidance as necessary to make changes to what you're doing. After 10 minutes, I don't think, unfortunately, that I will be able to visit everybody. The just constraints of there's one of me and 16 teams. There might not be enough time for me to see everybody, but I'm also more than willing to talk to you after class or in office hours if I didn't get a chance to talk to you in class, okay? So you've got 10 minutes. Please go ahead. All right. So I'm going to ask you all to stop. The ones that I saw look great. They look really good. Universally, I think the hardest part of this activity, and the hardest part of this entire course, to be honest with you, is coming up with a name for what your product is going to be. Everything that I saw so far looks good. We're going to come back to these, so please have a seat. Really broadly, the kinds of feedback that I want to give you, I think is like, from what I was seeing, it's mostly small changes that I'm asking people to make. So changing the scope of the type of user that they want to have. So I'm actually going to pick on this one, Product Fit Club. So Fit Club is a product for, sorry, I'm stealing your product here. Fit Club is a product for gym goers to learn exercises and plan workouts. Originally, they had the word inexperienced gym goers. And my suggestion to them, and they took that advice, my suggestion to them was to remove that constraint. This should be for all gym goers. It's gym goers. You want gym goers specifically, people who go to the gym, but you don't care about their experience level right now. As you are proceeding with this project, you're going to be delivering stuff. You're going to be building something and delivering something and building something and delivering something and building something and delivering something, and then stop. You're going to keep building something and delivering something. This can change. This can absolutely change. This should change if it needs to change. As we're going through this project, I'm going to give you the opportunity to reflect on, this is what my vision says. Are we still going to this place? Are we still building this thing? If not, it's okay to make changes to that. It is totally okay to make changes to that. So that was the most common advice I was giving, is just change the scope of the kinds of user that's going to be using this thing. All right. Let's break this down a little further. So we've got this high-level vision statement. We've got this high-level vision statement that describes at a really high level what our product is and who it's for. Our features and epics then contain, so we're taking this and we're trying to write something that is going to be necessary for our user to be able to accomplish that task, to be able to accomplish that vision. The features and epics that we're going to be writing are going to contain a title. This is the title of the thing that our user or client needs to be able to do. When I'm writing these, I like to keep these brief. I don't want to write a lot of detail in what the title of this thing is. I just want to glance at it and see this is what that feature is. So it should be ideally 1 to 3 words. There should be a single statement, single sentence that describes what the feature is. So again, at a high level, what is this feature that is necessary for our user to accomplish, for them to be able to meet the vision that we've set up here? It should contain the relative importance of the feature, a priority, and an approximate cost in days to implement. Our readings were telling us about approximate costs in terms of points. I'm going to ask you to do it as a time-based thing. The way that teams measure relative difficulty of a task changes from place to place. So I've heard of some shops, some software shops in Winnipeg using something called t-shirt sizes. So like extra large, large, medium, small to describe how difficult this task is. There's also the unitless story point. So a story point of 1 is about half as much work as a story point of 2. We're going to actually use days just because that's easier for us to wrap our minds around. This is approximately how long this is going to take. These are documents that are also going to be prepared by your client. You are your clients this term, so you are going to be preparing these, but typically this is something that is going to be involving the client to actually prepare these documents. I'm going to switch over here, and I'm going to show you a feature now for Notflix. I'm going to put it on a card here. When we do these physically, it's common to use index cards. Do we all know what index cards are? Just thumbs up, you know what index cards are? Okay, good. They're just little square sheets of paper, basically. We choose those because they are physically constrained. We have issue systems in GitLab. We have issue systems in GitHub. And those will be where you put these things. But a physical piece of paper has a limit, just a literal size limit. You can't write more than what this piece of paper has on it. Having that constraint will force you and help you to make sure that the scope of what you're writing here is appropriate for what you're doing. All right, so here is my epic or feature for Notflix. One of the things that I want my users to be able to do here is to find videos. I can think of a lot of different ways that I would want a user to be able to find a video in this system. But really broadly, if I want people to watch entertaining shows on demand, I want them to be able to find videos in this system. This is way too big to be actionable, but that's okay. I'm taking my vision statement and just breaking it down into something that's a little bit smaller than it was before. As a viewer, so again, I've got for who is trying to do this feature. As someone who's watching videos, I want to be able to find a video. And I want to be able to find a video so I can watch it. On this physical card, I'm going to use my corners. Since this is one of the major features of this is a pretty high priority thing. The relative cost that I have for this, I'm going to be thinking about many days or weeks to accomplish this feature. I'm going to think about this. So I'm internalizing this myself. I'm thinking about the kinds of things that I could implement for a user to be able to find videos, the mechanisms that they can use to find videos, how to do searching, that sort of thing. I'm going to estimate that this is a feature, when I think about many of those things, that's going to take, I'm going to guess about 2 weeks to finish this thing. That's my guess. Most of you don't have experience building big software on a team. A guess is okay. A guess is absolutely okay. You will be able to go back and change your vision statements. You will go back and be able to change the estimates that you have for how much time and effort you think that these things are going to take. This stuff can change. It's okay for this stuff to change as long as you're doing it consciously. So similar to my vision, I've got who this is for, a viewer, what they want to be able to do, find a video, and why they want to do it so they can watch it. This is still really broad. I'm going to give you an opportunity now to do this with your team. I'm going to ask you to use the small sticky notes that I've given to you. I put them in the middle of the table. So one team just like rip it in half and give it to the other team. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to do this. Just come up with one feature. If you have time to come up with multiple, go right ahead. But once you've got your feature, stick it to your vision statement, please. Go ahead. Satisfied with. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to stop. Stick what you have on your vision. If you're not finished, that's okay. You can come back to this. It's totally okay. You can come back to this. The common advice that I was giving to people that I saw as I was going around is make sure that, so I wrote regular people here, and then I further constrained this to be the word viewer. Make sure that when you're talking about who is going to be accomplishing this, that you're being consistent with what your vision statement is saying. So you want to make sure that you're talking about the same users in your vision statement, your epics, and then ultimately your user stories of what that kind of person needs to be able to accomplish. So make sure you're consistent with that. And then the other piece of advice I was giving in a couple cases is to avoid the use of technical terms. This is a technical term. I'll try to even emboss it. Oh no. Okay. Watch as I try to use the fill tool and it just fills up everything. This is a technical term. We are all CS people. You have been making lists since 1020. That was the first time you made a list, was in Comp 1020. And then you did it again in Comp 2160. And then you did it again in Comp 2140. And then you did it again in Comp 2150. And now you're here, and I'm going to tell you, stop it. Please stop it. This is a technical term in a few different ways. One is it's saying, this is the data structure I'm going to use. We are all technical people. We are all CS people. It's kind of implying I'm going to use an array list or a linked list or something to represent this data that I'm talking about. This is a technical term in that it's also sort of describing how it's going to look when you are finished with this thing. This is implying that I'm going to be using a bullet list. I'm going to show you a set of bullets that describe this specific thing. Can I see your the feature? Is it back here? Okay. So I'm going to tell you about this feature that the team at the back came up with here. Their feature is called View Spendings. And what they originally wrote was, as an average spender, I would like to view a list of my previous spendings. I'd like to view a list of my previous spendings. I'm pretty sure they're not talking about linked lists here. I think I can guarantee that. Can you confirm that? You're not talking about linked lists? Okay, I didn't think so, but they are telling us about what it's going to look like when it's finished, and we don't want that yet. We're not at that point. We don't know what this is going to look like. We don't want to know what this is going to look like, and we don't want to cloud our own idea of what it's going to look like before we get to building it. So I asked them to just strike the word "a list of." So instead of saying, I would like to view a list of my previous spendings, it now says, I would like to view my previous spendings. That's it. No a list of. Just, I would like to view the thing that I have, the domain object that I have for this problem that I've got. So as you're coming up with these non-technical planning artifacts, what I'm really trying to say is, please don't put this word in there. Please don't put this word in there. This is a technical term. It's either describing what it's going to look like, or it's describing how you're going to implement it. And that should not be part of these non-technical planning artifacts. Okay. I'm going to skip ahead here. We'll do user stories next class, and then we'll start looking at technical planning artifacts. Just want to make sure that we actually get a chance to finish on time, and I want to make sure that we get to start talking about the project and what's expected of you from the project before the end of class today. So iteration 0 details are on the course webpage. This is a document that's up on the course webpage. Iteration 0 is going to have you starting to plan your project. So you've got to start here, but this is what you're actually going to be doing for your project for the first deliverable. We're going to be asking you to tell us about what you are going to be doing for your product, so what you're planning to build with your team by the end of the term. Everything that you're going to be submitting for this product, for this project, is going to be submitted on GitLab. We are using the GitLab that's hosted under the CS department servers. It's code.cs.umanitoba.ca. Some people know about this already. Some people have accounts. If you have one, great. If you don't have an account on this system already, you have to use your @myumanitoba.ca email address to sign up. So it's whitelisted to just those email addresses. This is a link to the Comp 3350 Winter 2023 group. You're going to be creating your projects under this group of projects. All projects across both sections will be publicly visible to all other teams. So we're not hiding anything here. Everybody can see everybody else's projects. When you get to the point of creating your project on GitLab, so nominate someone on your team to do this on your team's behalf, please use this naming pattern so that we know who you are. The tasks that you have for iteration 0 are to come up with a vision statement. This entire vision document. What you've done today is an excellent start to that. You can take what you've got today and you can just use that as your opening sentence. You can start right away from that. I would like you to use GitLab to do this, and I'd like you to use a Markdown formatted README file. So Markdown formatted, just to be clear, Markdown formatted, what I'm minimally looking for here is that you're using like underscores, underlines, equal signs for underlines. That's really, really tiny. Using equal signs for underlines. That's it. It's just a plain text format. It's nothing special. But GitLab will make this a nice looking HTML web page for you, so you don't have to write all that stuff out yourself. I want you to come up with the set of features that you're going to be building for your product. And this is for the entire product. So the entire term, these are the things that you're going to be working on. You should be coming up with about 9 to 12 total features for your product. These can and will change. Change also means adding and dropping entire features. Change doesn't just mean changing the words that you have on here, but it's changing the scope of your product and your project by the end of the course. I'd still like you to have something to start with. So 9 to 12 features. And I'd like you to then to have user stories for what you are immediately going to start working on when you get to iteration 1. So these are going to be the most detailed documents that you've got. You should have 5 to 10 total user stories for your first iteration for what you plan to do. The user stories are going to be created as issues in GitLab, and I can spend a little bit of time talking about this in next class. If you don't have any experience with GitHub or GitLab, there's no problem. I'll demonstrate how we can accomplish some of this stuff. The assessment that you have is listed below. The vision document is going to be assessed on the following 5 criteria. And then there's a rubric that tells you approximately what you should be looking for in terms of how to assess your own work, so you know what to expect when we're assessing it. And then the features and user stories, we don't really have a rubric for these because you're just going to make a bunch of small things. But these are the things that you should look out for and make sure that you're meeting these criteria so that you're not losing any points from that. I'm going to skip this part, but soon, very soon, the to-do that you have individually, if you don't have an account on GitLab, please sign up for one as soon as possible. And everybody needs to, this should not say winter 2019, I'm sorry, this should say winter 2023. This is not 4 years ago, this is right now. So please make sure you're picking the right group. Your team has the responsibility of creating a project in this group. So just pick one person to do this for your team. I'm going to change them all to internal access. That means that people who are logged in will be able to see this. It's not going to be available publicly on the web. I want you to start creating labels. The way that I want you to use labels for this is for priorities. So priority for high, priority for medium, priority for low. And then start working on iteration 0. So take what you've got here and start transcribing that into a document that you have on GitLab to represent your vision. So we should now be able to prepare some non-technical planning artifacts. We've gone from vision to epics, and then we'll get to user stories next class. I'm going to really kindly ask that you bring these visions to me. So stick anything that you want. Take a picture of it as much as you need right now so that you can start putting this into your stuff on GitLab. But please bring it to me, and I will bring them back next class so that you have them again. And please bring the team papers up front, and all the other stuff that I gave to you, please bring everything back up front. I'll see you all on Thursday.